In this section, we will look at the economic cost of unemployment. Unemployment means lost output and the potential production in the economy is going down. That means the economy is producing inside the production possibility curve. Economists call this loss of output to be a GDP gap. The GDP gap is the difference between actual gross domestic product and potential gross domestic product. This GDP gap can be zero, negative, or positive depending on the cyclical unemployment. And just to let you know, the potential GDP means full employment gross domestic product. We are producing maximum output. The economy is on the production possibility curve and we do not have any idle resources. Now, I know 1% of cyclical unemployment will create a 2% gap. So I can write a 2% cyclical unemployment is going to create a 4% gap. So I'll show you the examples in the Excel sheet. That's going to make this clear. We can have a positive cyclical unemployment. Our output lost will be 4%. So that's why I have a negative sign here. Or we can have a negative cyclical unemployment. My output gain will be equal to positive 4. So it really doubles up. If it is 4, it's going to be 8. Or it's just going to be 8, it's going to be 16. It's like you are just doubling things up here. Now going to the Excel sheet here, my actual unemployment is cyclical plus frictional plus structural. The natural rate of unemployment is only frictional and structural. Now we have 3 cases when the cyclical is 0, positive, and negative. And I will look at the GDP gap numbers. Take a look at case number 1, and just to let you know, this natural rate of unemployment, the cyclical component is always going to be equal to 0. So this isn't changing, it's always 8%. Now, when I look at the potential gross domestic product here, that's always going to be equal to 100%. That means the economy is producing the maximum possible output. So this natural rate of unemployment and potential GDP numbers are not changing. The actual unemployment and the GDP gap numbers will change, and everything really depends on the cyclical component. Case 1, when cyclical unemployment is equal to 0%, I can just write this to be equal to 0%. If this is the case, the actual unemployment is 8, 5 plus 3. This will be equal to natural rate of unemployment. And the actual GDP is equal to potential GDP. That means the economy is producing on the production possibility curve. The GDP gap is equal to 0 because I'm going to have 100% minus 100. That's equal to 0%. So whenever cyclical is 0, my GDP gap will be equal to 0. Now case number 2, say my cyclical is a positive number. When cyclical is positive, that means we are in the recession phase of the business cycle, output is going down. My GDP gap will be negative. It doubles up. Like over here, what we saw was 1% cyclical unemployment will cause a 2% GDP gap. And we can write a 2% cyclical unemployment will cause a 4% GDP gap. Alright, so this is a negative 4%. This always stays at 100%. How do you get this one as 96% here? So I'm going to look at case number 2 here. My GDP gap is equal to 4%. This is equal to actual minus 100%. If I just change sides here, my actual will be equal to, let me just write it down here. So I'm just going to take the 100 over to that side, so negative becomes a positive. Actual becomes equal to 96%. So here we go. That's how we get the 96%. Case number 3, instead of a positive, the cyclical unemployment is going down, and that's good news. We are in the expansion phase of the business cycle. When this is negative 2, this will be positive 4. That means we are producing more than potential gross domestic product. Also, when this one is negative 2, my actual unemployment will be 5 plus 3 minus 2, which is 6%. This one's less than the natural rate of unemployment. Now, this is still equal to 100%. My question is, how do I get this 104% here? If I look at case number 3, my GDP gap is equal to 4% or a positive 4%. I'm getting a positive 4% because a negative 2 turns into a positive 4, and that is what we are just doing here, is applying Okun's law. Then I can write positive 4 is equal to actual minus 100%. 100% is the potential GDP. Now if I change sides here, actual becomes 100% plus 4%. This is equal to 104%. Okay. Alright, so this is how you apply Okun's law to find the relation between cyclical unemployment and GDP gap. Hope all of this makes sense. Thank you very much.